The truth about fitness after weight loss. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to Amanda Widener Wellness. My name's Amanda. I'm so excited to have you here. On this channel, we talk about all things weight loss, weight management, tools like GLP-1s, fitness, nutrition, and everything in between. Today, I want to talk about fitness after weight loss, right? How do we build muscle? Can we build muscle? What is my personal experience with that as a fitness professional, but also as a person? So I do want to dive into that, but before I do, I have a disclaimer. I am not a doctor or a healthcare provider, and while I am a personal trainer and group fitness instructor, I am not your personal trainer or group fitness instructor, so please speak with your doctor and wellness team before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or medication regimen. Everything on this channel is based on my personal experiences and opinions. So when I started my current wellness journey, I was 284 pounds. Now I'm about 14 months into that journey, and I'm 40 years old, and I am down 107 pounds, and I'm still counting, right? Which is amazing. But when I started this journey, I had been through this before. I had weight cycled my entire life. I've been on every diet you could probably think of, and I just wasn't sure if this was going to be the time that finally stuck. So I didn't do some of the things that I wish I had to just get me started on my journey towards weight loss and then fitness. I didn't take measurements. I didn't get a DEXA scan. I didn't even take photos or videos before I started this. So all I have now to compare myself to are photos and videos that I took with friends or at events, and then a pair of pants that I kept when I decided to get rid of all of my clothes that were too large. So if you are getting started on your current wellness journey and you haven't done those things, it's not too late. I highly encourage you to go and get them done. Take your measurements, get on the scale, take the before and after photos and videos, because there will come a point on this journey where you're going to want to be able to compare and see how far you've come. Even if you never share that with another person, it's nice to be able to look back at a photo or video side by side with where you are today, especially if you're having a day where you feel frustrated and like the scale's not moving, and to look and say, I've done that, I made that progress. So now here I am 14 months later, I've lost 107 pounds, but I also know that I'm not done on this journey. Now I've mentioned in previous videos that wellness is a journey or a marathon that lasts forever, right? Well, many of us think of a weight loss goal as a set number, and when you reach it, you're done. The truth is that wellness is a lifelong commitment. And so you might get to that goal number that you have in mind. That's not a finish line. Really, that's the beginning of the race. This weight loss journey is you corralling towards the start line, and the race is what happens after you hit that goal number, right? How do you maintain it, and how do you keep a healthy, active lifestyle afterwards that lasts all the way to the end of time? So that's kind of the way that I like to look at things, especially on this current journey. It's really helped to keep me moving forward instead of just thinking, oh, I have this one end goal and then I can just go back to the way things are. I'm constantly changing my goals and my perspective so that I'm constantly moving forward, because I know that I need to keep moving forward if I'm going to be successful long term. So while I am happy to just be healthier and move better and feel like my autoimmune disease is more under control, and I can finally be the mom and the wife and the fitness instructor that I've always wanted to be and that I've strived to be, I have not set a set goal as far as weight loss, but I still know that I'm not done because I still have fitness goals that I want to reach. So, and I'm pretty sure that I will always be continuing to change what those goals are, right? As I achieve one, I always tend to create a new one. So I might finally be able to do a pull-up, but then I'm going to want to be able to do 10 pull-ups. Or I might be able to do a pull-up and then I'm going to want to be able to do a handstand. So there's always going to be some sort of goal that I have in mind that I'm chasing, but they're different goals and they have different methods to get me there. And that's kind of where I am today. So when I started on my journey, my main concern was just nutrition, because I wanted to get myself into a calorie deficit. That's how you lose weight. Some people need help getting into a calorie deficit because they have other things that are combating their ability to lose weight, which is why a GLP-1 has been so beneficial to me. But I still needed to get into a calorie deficit in order to lose weight, right? Calories in, calories out. Many of us hate that term, but that's the science behind it. Your body needs to burn more than you're putting into it in order to lose weight. So that was my number one focus for the first several months of my journey. Focus on nutrition. What am I putting in my body? How can I find a routine that feels good, where I'm not starving all the time, where I feel like I'm nurturing my body and feeding it the fuel that it needs to get through my day? That was my main focus. And then I got to a point where I was about 50 pounds down, and I decided to start adding some extra movement into my day. And that movement was walking. I went for a little bit of a walk every day. It started small, 10 minutes, then 20 minutes, then 30, then more. Then I got up to an hour, and then I started adding in more distance. Again, it was another goal that I progressed over time. When I got to the 70-pound mark, as a fitness professional, I was feeling really good about myself, right? I recognized that I was smaller, but I also recognized that I wasn't toned. Even though I was teaching multiple cardio dance classes per week, even though I was teaching multiple strength-based classes per week, I was using lighter weights and higher repetition, and I wasn't challenging myself because I was more focused on the people in my classes. So when you teach a fitness class, you're looking to make sure that other people have good form and that they're not going to risk injury. And you want to be able to quickly adapt what you're doing to help them. And if you're focused too much on a heavy load or heavy weight, it's really difficult to do that. So I was lifting much lighter weight than my body was capable of so that I could focus on being a good instructor. But what I wasn't doing was taking extra time to focus on my own strength training outside of teaching. And so I was smaller, but I wasn't toned. I did not have the aesthetic body or build that I was looking for. I'm someone who's always had kind of an hourglass shape. I'm larger on the top and a smaller waist with a larger bottom. And I was seeing changes to that. My definition wasn't there anymore, where even when I was heavier, I still had some muscle definition. That was gone because with the large amounts of weight loss, I was also losing some muscle. I wasn't losing large amounts of muscle, I was still exercising, but for many people, when they lose weight, many of it is fat, but also some of it may be lean body mass, like muscle. So I was losing that, and I wasn't seeing the definition that I wanted. I was also seeing changes to my body shape. And I know as a fitness professional that changing your body shape is possible. So losing a large amount of weight will change your body shape, right? You're losing all that visceral fat, you're losing all of your body fat as you burn them off in your calorie deficit. So your body is going to change shape from that alone, right? That's why people recognize, oh, you've lost weight. But you might also see changes to your typical shape. So I said I've always been kind of hourglass shape, but when I got to the 70-pound loss mark, I noticed that my glutes were a little bit flatter instead of being rounder. My chest volume had gone down some. And even though I was exercising, I just wasn't working in a way to maximize my muscle growth. And I wasn't combating my muscle loss from losing such a large amount of weight the way that I should have been. So I decided at that 70 pounds loss mark that it was time for me to start working towards body recomposition. So while I was only 70 pounds down at that point, I was still needing to lose body fat. I was still considered obese at that point. But I also know as a fitness professional that body recomposition is possible while continuing to lose weight. And changing your body shape that way is possible as well. So body recomposition is the process of decreasing body fat while increasing your lean body mass. So it's going to combine targeted and strategic exercise and nutrition hand in hand to achieve a more toned physique. It's about building muscle while losing weight at the same time, which was exactly what I wanted. I wanted to no longer be losing the volume in the areas I wanted volume. I wanted to increase my muscle mass in those areas and rebuild the muscle that I had lost and build onto it so I had more strength while still continuing to lose body fat to reach my health goals of being closer to a healthier body fat percentage. So if body recomposition is a goal for you like it was for me, it might be beneficial for you to get an additional type of starting plan, and that would be a DEXA scan or invest in something like the Hume Body Pod. Now, I haven't done either of these things, but it is a really great way for you to measure where you are now with more than just your weight or the number of like how big your arms or your legs or your waistline is. This can actually measure your lean body mass and other parts of your body to tell you how much body fat you have and how much muscle you're gaining or losing based on those changes. So I wish that I had taken myself to get a DEXA scan early on in this process. I didn't. In fact, I still haven't. But that might be something that I look into in the near future, just so I can kind of have an idea of where I am right now and then where I might be a year from now as I continue on with my body recomposition process. because this process can take weeks, months, years, the rest of your life, right? So I'm still constantly chasing new goals, and I'm still working on changing the way that my body looks. And I'm still working on losing body fat. And so because of that, it would be nice to have something to compare it to, right? Again, data, numbers, always a great thing to have. So if you have the means to get a DEXA scan or to invest in a human body pod, the earlier in your journey that you decide to do that may be better for you. Is it necessary? No. I have been allowing my weight, the weight room progress, so like how much I'm lifting, how many reps I can do it, and the aesthetics of being able to see my muscles kind of tell me that I'm achieving the goals I'm looking for. And you can absolutely do that as well. But if you are very scientifically driven, sometimes it's nice to have like the actual numbers written out in black and white for you to compare to. So, is there a one size fits all exercise plan for body recomposition? No. And that's kind of the unfortunate part, right? We kind of have to figure out what works best for us as individuals. But strength training has been proven to be crucial to body recomposition. So while many of us like to just do cardio, right? Go for a walk, that sort of thing, that will help put you into a calorie deficit. If you want to achieve body recomposition and build muscle, you must include strength training into your routine. It's also been proven to be beneficial to add an additional cardio and stretching for overall wellness and calorie burn, and to have a nutrition plan that mostly focuses on protein. And so this is one of the reasons that you hear people, especially on GLP-1 channels, talking about the importance of protein, because protein helps you build muscle and it also helps prevent muscle loss. So by having a high protein diet, you're able to prevent muscle loss a little bit easier and build muscle as you need it. And that's the same with anyone who's going into body recomposition. So body recomposition is something that has traditionally in the fitness world been seen and used, especially by bodybuilders. And they eat a very high protein diet so that they can build muscle faster. And so we're going to take that same science and apply it to us in our daily lives. So we want to have a diet, a nutrition plan that really provides us with enough protein to get through our day and have the energy that we need. So let's talk about how to achieve body recomposition. The first thing we want to consider is strength training. Strength training is vital. So if you're just starting out on your journey, you might not be here yet, and that's okay. This is something that you can come back to when the time feels right. Or maybe you're wanting to start out with a little bit of strength training right from the get-go, and that's fine, but take your time and ease into it. The goal is to eventually get to a point where you're achieving these goals that I'm about to list off, right? So you want to use weightlifting to target major muscle groups like your chest, your back, your legs, your shoulders, your arms, about 2 to 3 times a week, okay? Now for many of us getting started on our journey, 2 to 3 times a week for just one major muscle group area can seem very daunting. And in fact, I'm only several months into re-adding strength training, like real strength training in the weight room into my routine. And so I go to the weight room 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes I'll get a 4th day in there, but it's not every week. And what I do is I like to do an upper body focus day, a lower body focus day, an upper body focus day, and then a lower body focus day if I'm doing 4. Or if I only get 3 days in, 1 week will be upper, lower, upper, and then the next week would be lower, upper, lower. That way I'm getting a nice variation in the types of exercises that I'm doing, but I'm still able to focus on major muscles in one part of my body, allow it to fully rest and recover before I go and hit it again another day of the week. Okay, so exercises for these types of major muscle group focuses could include things like squats, deadlifts, bench presses, rows, overhead presses, but it doesn't have to be complicated. You can literally just get a couple of cans and do some bicep curls. You're targeting your bicep, that's a major muscle. You could do some shoulder presses. You're targeting your shoulders, right? Nice and easy. You could do some flies to target your back, and you can do this at home in a chair if that's where the level that you're at. And then as you get stronger, you increase the weight, okay? You're gonna try to do 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. That's where you're gonna start, right? You wanna be able to achieve 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. So you'll do 8 bicep curls or 12, and then you'll rest, and then you'll try it again for 8 to 12, and then you rest, and then you try it again for 8 to 12, and then you're done, and you move on to the next major muscle. You want that to be at a weight that feels challenging, but achievable. You want your last few reps to feel like you are fighting to get them up, without straining to get them up. And then over time, you are going to increase the number of reps that you do. And then when you get to a point where you're able to do 12 reps 3 times, you're going to increase the weight. Okay, that's called progressive overload. So progressive overload is the gradual increase of weight, frequency, or intensity of your workout. And this is essential for continuous improvements in fitness. It's also going to challenge your muscles and prevent plateaus, which many of us are concerned about when we're on wellness journeys, especially ones that include weight loss. So if you're consistently applying more stress to your muscle, they're going to adapt and get stronger, and they're going to get more resilient. And they're also, the more muscle you have, the more calories that you burn at rest, which puts you into more of a calorie deficit so you can continue to lose weight at the rate that you're looking for. Okay, so you're going to gradually get stronger, and you're going to be burning more calories at rest, which is what many of us are looking for. So progressive overload is really, really important to strength training, but you don't have to start in the weight room with like 30-pound weights. You can literally start with a can in your house and progress from there. Okay, eventually you can change that from a small soup can to a large soup can, from a soup can to a bottle of water, from a bottle of water to a gallon jug, right? You can slowly increase over time. When that doesn't work, go get some hand weights secondhand at Play It Again Sports or from the Facebook Marketplace. And then you can start with 5-pound weights, and then you can move to a 7-pound weight, and then an 8-pound weight, and then a 10-pound weight, right? And then eventually there might come a day where you're like, all right, I don't have enough weights at home. Maybe I'm going to go to the gym, and then you can start there. Well, I'm on a 12-pound weight at the gym. Then you're going to work towards progressive overload to get there, right? Start slowly, but still start with intention if you are going to be adding strength training into your routine. Allow about 48 hours or more in between your major muscle areas. So when I'm doing these workouts, let's say I'm doing three strength training days per week. Okay, I'm going to go in on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because that's how my schedule works. And so if I'm working upper body on Monday, and then I'm not going Tuesday, Wednesday I'm going to work lower body, then I'm not going to work out Thursday, then Friday I'm going to hit upper body again. I have allowed 1, 2, 3 days in between. That's lots of rest, right? So maybe don't do upper, do upper space, lower space, upper, right? That's going to give you 24 or 48 or more hours in between to allow your muscles to rest and recover. But do your workouts in a way that works with your lifestyle. But you want to still have a plan, right? Work out with a purpose, work out with a plan. So go into your workouts knowing, what am I focusing on today? Am I focusing on upper body major muscles, lower body major muscles? Am I working on core? Am I working on primarily cardio and then doing a little strength afterwards? What am I working out today? You want to think about how much rest time you're going to have in between. And you also want to consider how you feel with your progressive overload plan. What weight should you start at? Do you think you can go a little bit heavier today? And if you go a little bit heavier, it's okay if you can't finish. If you try to go a little bit heavier and you get fatigued after your first set, then go back down, and now you have a new starting point for the next time you work out, right? So if today you're trying to go up in weights, let's say you had previously used 20-pound weights, okay? I'm just picking a random number. Last time I did bicep curls, I was using 20-pound weights. Today I'm going to try to do a 25-pound weight. And I do 25 pounds and I do 8 reps. But by that last rep, I am so fatigued, I know I can't do it again the next time. Then I'll go back down to my 20. At least I'm trying to progress the muscles. Then the next day that I have an upper body workout, I will do the same thing. I will try to do 8 more reps with the 25-pound weights. And if I can, maybe I'll get an extra rep or 2 in, or maybe after my rest, I'll be able to get some reps in with the 25-pound weights before I have to drop back down the next time. Right? So have a plan, kind of know what strategy you're going into. Are you going to try to lift a little bit heavier today? Are you going to try to do a few more reps today? Are you solid with where you were? But make sure that you're still trying to challenge yourself, but continue to have a plan as you work through your progressive overload. I like to think of it as, I'm going to have an upper body day. I'm going to have a lower body day. Some people break these down. They're like, today is chest and back. Tomorrow's this and that. I don't do that. I just do upper half, lower half. It makes it easy for me to remember. And then I always think I want to push something, pull something, lift something, and lower something. So push, pull, lift, and lower, upper body, right? Push, chest press, pull my back like a row, lift shoulders, And then lower for my upper body could be another back exercise, that sort of thing, right? So I'm like taking something down. My lower body would be the same thing. I want to lift something. So if I'm going to do like a leg press, I'm going to lift it. I want to lower something. So I could do a squat. I'm going to lower my squats. I want to push something. So maybe I'm going to do a weighted lunge back, and I want to pull something. So maybe like a Romanian deadlift, right? That's kind of how I approach my exercises so that I have a plan and a purpose. So you want to strength train, have a plan, continue to increase the weight, continue to increase the reps. You're not going to end up bulking up like Arnold back in the day by increasing your weights a little bit, but you are going to challenge your muscles. And by challenging your muscles, you're going to change the way that they look, they focus, they function, and that's going to change the way your body looks. And that's what you're looking for with body recomposition. You also want to look at having some cardiovascular workouts in your routine. Cardio should be done 3 to 5 times a week for a total of either 75 minutes of intense activity or 150 minutes of moderately intense activity. Highly intense activity would be something where you're struggling to breathe while you say it, right? You're out of breath. Moderate intensity would be where you're not able to like sing a song, but you could still have like a mild conversation. You could still answer questions. Okay. Cardio workouts could be anything from walking and jogging to swimming or cycling or taking a dance class like I like to teach. You want it to be something that you find enjoyable. Get that heart rate up, get the blood pumping, get your extra calorie burn, get the health benefits of cardio, but you still want to make sure that you have strength training as your primary concern if you're looking into body recomposition. Another thing to consider with body recomposition is also flexibility and mobility training. And that's really just to make sure that you're able to increase your range of motion, which is going to help you get into deeper weight training so that you can continue to build your progressive overload. But it's also going to help you with your overall movement. So dynamic stretching, yoga, Pilates, all of those types of things are really going to help you. It's also going to help your body prevent injury as you continue to increase your weights and hit your cardio goals. But again, in the end, you want all of these things, your strength training, your cardio, and your mobility training to be fun. You want your workouts to be realistic, but enjoyable, because if they're not enjoyable and they're not attainable, you're not going to do them. The other thing to consider with body recomposition is nutrition. So just like with weight loss, nutrition is important. And with body recomposition, we're still trying to lose body fat while we build muscle. So we need to approach nutrition strategically. Okay, we want to eat more calories and have carbs on days when we're working out, so that our body is able to turn that food into the fuel it needs to build muscle. So we want to make sure that we're eating whole, unprocessed foods as much as we can. We're focusing primarily on protein. As I mentioned, protein is really important. It's going to help us build that muscle. But we still want to have some carbs. But we want carbs like fruits, vegetables, brown rice if you like it. White rice is fine if you don't. Pasta, like whole wheat pasta is ideal. But again, if you don't like whole wheat pasta, try protein pasta, or just get a really good regular pasta. Potatoes are a great carb. They're one of the most they are the most satiating food on the food chain. And so if you really want to feel full and you want a really good natural carbohydrate, go for a potato. They're not as high in calories as many people think either. Or quinoa is also another great option. Quinoa is naturally higher in protein, but it's still going to give you some really great carbs that your body can turn into fuel. You also still want to have some healthy fats in your diet, so try some healthier fat options like nuts or seeds, avocados, or if you like to eat fish is a great option. I'm not a fish eater, but I know I kind of wish I was, just because there's so many great benefits to it. But you'll need energy from your food to support you for these workouts. Lifting weights is hard. It stresses out your body. And so you still want to have a slight calorie deficit, but you don't want a major calorie deficit, because your body needs calories for the energy to get you through your workout so that it can build the muscle you want for your body recomposition. We also want to make sure that we're staying hydrated. Hydration is really, really important in this process. Proper hydration is essential for protein synthesis, which is how our muscles repair and grow after exercise. So when we exercise, especially when we're lifting weights, the muscle fibers tear, right? That's how we get sore, and then they rebuild and recover and they get bigger, right? So that's muscle growth. In order to do that, we need protein synthesis to happen, and our body requires proper hydration to have that process occur. Water is also going to play a vital role in transporting nutrients throughout our bodies, like amino acids and glucose, to the muscle cells while they recover. So this is kind of crucial for energy production and our recovery after our workouts. So you really need hydration for that recovery. Also, dehydration, not having enough water in our bodies, especially if we're sweating it out during cardio and strength training, dehydration can lead to muscle cramps. It can lead to decreased strength and endurance, which is the opposite of what we're trying to achieve, because that can hinder our workout performance, which can prevent us from our progressive overload or achieving our goals. So we really want to make sure that we are approaching our fitness, our strength training, our cardio, our mobility training, and our hydration from a long-term lifestyle change and not a quick fix, right? That's what body recomposition is. If you're on a long weight loss journey, you're looking to lose a large amount of weight, like I did or more. Losing the weight and feeling like you can make those lifestyle changes at first is going to be your first priority. Lose some of the weight. Change the way that you live your life so that it feels achievable. Add in this portion later. When you do add this portion in, remember that body recomposition doesn't happen overnight. It can take weeks, months, or years for many of us. I know that this is something that I'm going to be working towards for a very long time. And I'm still never going to fully achieve the aesthetic look that I want, because I do have some loose skin, and I do have, I'm not 20 anymore, I'm 40. But what I really like is feeling like I'm strong and fit, and that I'm now going to be able to live a long, healthy, happy life. I want to be independent and mobile for as long as possible. And chasing these goals, this body recomposition, changing my muscle growth and my muscle development, is going to help me with that. Sarcopenia is the progressive loss of muscle mass and strength that happens as we age. It typically begins around age 30, and then there's a decline of about 3 to 5% per decade. So it significantly affects women, and many of us are aware of that, right? That women typically lose a lot more muscle mass than men as we age. Sarcopenia affects 50% of individuals over the age of 80. I know that starting to work on my muscle strength and my mobility now is going to help me prevent more of that degeneration as I age, later on in life. And so that's really my main goal right now. Well, of course, I want to be excited about the aesthetic changes of this recomposition process. I'm really excited about achieving these strength goals, about seeing the weight increase and me getting stronger. But I'm also really excited about being strong and capable for as long as possible. This is another lifelong commitment. It's going to allow me to challenge myself and push myself in ways that I never have been able to do before, because I was carrying around the extra weight and I hadn't challenged my muscles to grow and develop this way. So it's really exciting to learn what my body is capable and see what I'm able to do now that I'm down 107 pounds. Now, this has been my personal journey. Yours might look different, and that's totally okay. You might not want to build as much muscle as I have or as I want to, but the strategy is still the same. Muscle loss and weight loss often go hand in hand. So our bodies the way that our bodies change as we lose large amounts of weight is something that we often need to combat, and we need to protect our bodies so that they can be strong and capable for as long as possible. Strength training has so many benefits. So start small. Do one thing to get you started with strength training. Progress over time. And however much time that takes is completely different for every person's individual journey. But you will see benefits over time. You're gonna help yourself feel taller, stronger, and more able to live the life that you are currently working so hard to get to. So don't write off strength training because it feels like exercise. Make it something that feels like it's part of your prescription for weight loss, right? So I don't really know how else to phrase that, but I like to think of going to the gym as part of my it's not just my wellness routine or my wellness journey, it's part of my treatment for the disease of obesity. I make sure that I take the medication that I need to take for the treatment of obesity. I make sure that I eat the way that I need to for the treatment of the disease of obesity. And I make sure to schedule in and complete my workouts as part of the treatment for my disease of obesity. And when I really see it as that way, as a treatment for this condition that I have, for this disease that I have, it makes it a lot more easy to keep those commitments to myself, because I am treating a disease, and you have to treat a disease if you want to be able to keep it at bay and live the life that you're looking to live. So that's really my advice here. If you're looking to get fit after losing a significant amount of weight, or while you're still in the process of losing weight, it is absolutely possible, but you do have to make changes, and you need to continue to make changes and change what your goals are over time in order to achieve that. I am still very much in the process of getting to not only the aesthetic look that I'm looking for, but for the strength level that I'm hoping to get to. And I keep finding new ways to challenge myself to keep moving forward so it doesn't feel monotonous or boring. Because let's be honest, weight loss isn't that exciting, right? It's doing a lot of the same things every single day. And working out and exercising is just one part of that monotonous routine that you have to do every day to achieve your goals. So one of the things that I do is I like to personally challenge myself. I'm a competitive person. And so I track how much I'm lifting weight wise. And I say, by this time next week, I want to be able to do one more rep, or I want to be able to go up half a pound or an extra 5 pounds, depending on what I'm using to lift. Right? Do I always achieve that goal? No. And if I don't achieve it, that's then my goal for the next workout. That's kind of all I wanted to talk about today. Getting fit after major weight loss is absolutely possible. It may not look exactly the way that you want, but it's not just about the aesthetics. It's really about the overall wellness and just continuing to push yourself on this lifelong journey. So what are you doing today to push yourself forward in some way on your wellness journey? Is it fitness related? Is it nutrition related? Is it just something mental health related to keep moving you forward? Put it in the comments below. I want to read it and support you and cheer you on. And that's all from me today. If you haven't already, I hope that you will like and subscribe so that you don't miss my next video, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.